Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Year of the Batman. And today's Batman movie is a continuation from yesterday. It's Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 2. And I gotta say, so I remember liking this movie more than Part 1, and I still do. Um, but there's one character who's written in a way that I think really holds it back for me. I'll get into that more of that later, but yeah. So it starts off pretty much like a week or a couple of days after the events of the first movie. The Sons of the Batman are going around being like serving Batman in a way, like doling out their own judgment and justice. Except they do kill, so it's a bit extreme. And I mean, Batman, he doesn't really have much control of shit, what they do and whatnot. So, but also at the time, the president who, I mean, it's pretty much Ronald Reagan. He's just credited as president, but I mean, he's animated like Ronald Reagan. He's voiced like Ronald Reagan. I'll just say it's Ronald freaking Reagan. Um, he's telling Superman, who's pretty much like the government's errand boy, like, hey, why don't you go to Gotham City and just let them know? Cut the shit, will ya? So, um, it's like the middle of the night in Gotham City, uh, and these two guys are now part of a new group called Bruno, like the Brunos, and it's this like girl who they say has is like fancy with the Joker, which a he's like it. Yeah, I can't talk. He's doing a lot better. He's now at Arkham. I keep wanting to say Arkham City. He's at Arkham Asylum, and he's like smiling and talking and everything, and he has got his psychiatrist like in the bag. Like he's like saying how he wants to be on the television and say his story, but then he just starts crying and like kind of guilting him into it, and then the fucking psychiatrist is like, "Oh yeah, you're like my best patient. I'm sure everybody would love to hear your story." And I'm thinking, "Motherfucker, the last time you did this about a week ago, you did it with Two-Face and he escaped, immediately turned evil, and almost blew up a building. Like, and you're gonna trust the fucking Joker on a talk show? Get out of here, dude. You're the bad guy of this." So, there's a lot of talk of Joker going on the talk show, and as I was saying, this Bruno person, they say it's like Joker's main squeeze, but it's really weird because Joker's like in his 50s and 60s, and this woman's like 30, and then she's like tall and muscular, and she doesn't wear a shirt, but she has swastikas on her nipples, which is a fucking choice. I don't know what's going on there. So her and two thugs are robbing this convenience store when this old lady starts bitching to the owner about the price of Jack. But it turns out that old lady's Batman in disguise. So he's like, he takes down the thugs, and now he's after her. And him and Robin eventually track her to like an abandoned building. But then at that moment, Superman he shows up, and he like ties her around some pipes and whatnot, pretty much capturing her. And Superman's like, "Hey, Bruce, we need to talk." And Bruce is like, "I'm working. Fuck off. See me tomorrow." So it's the next day, and I really like what they do with the animals. I won't say too much, but there's an eagle, a mouse, and a wolf in the background. And if you like pay attention to the dialogue and what's going on, it's really neat. I don't want to say too much. It's just a very beautiful scene. So Superman and Batman, they're talking to each other, and you find out a little more that like 10 years ago, everything was disbanded, but Bruce, he was being kind of a dick about it, but it's pretty hinted that the reason he gave up being Batman was the death of Jason Todd. So, Superman, he works for the government. How he went off planet, which kind of sucks because Earth is Hal Jordan's planet, but I mean, I guess it makes sense if they're like, no more superheroes, so be a superhero somewhere else, but not here. Diana went back to Themyscira, and then Oliver, unfortunately, got the shit end of the stick, which we'll find out later. So Superman's like, hey, listen, um, go back to retirement. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure they're going to order me to take you down. And Bruce just ends like, okay, well, if that's the case, may the best man win. So Superman then fucks off, and then he has to deal with I forget the exact island, but there's an island dispute going on with like some Russians are trying to attack it. You know, U.S. forces there, and Superman he shows up and he's like blowing up jets. He's taking down battleships. Like, I mean, he's going to fucking town on them, and I'm just like, you know, there's no way he didn't kill people doing all that destruction. So that makes me feel like super icky that Superman's willing to kill for America. I mean, he's all about truth, justice, and the American way, but it's Superman. And that's kind of like where I was at on my second rewatch. I mean, I've seen it over and over and over on this rewatch. Because Superman, for me, has grown a lot personally as a character. And then when I see him doing shit like that, I'm just like, I don't like that. Like the Injustice series. Like, is it a fun concept to have a Superman that was pushed too far by the Joker? Yeah, that's a fun idea, but like, that's not my Superman. It's just, it's just a bastardization of him. It's a fun what if, but that's not Superman. Um, and then watching this movie, that's not my Superman. Like I see him and it just feels like a cheap knockoff, honestly. Especially if he's doing shit like that. So, meanwhile, uh, the new commissioner is finally authorized. Like Gordon's finally retired, and the new one's in. Which I don't know if this was on purpose, but like the new commissioner and Carrie Kelly look very, very, very similar. I don't know why they did that, but they look so alike. So her first act is by making Batman a wanted criminal, which I don't know where she's going from with this. Like, you see time and time again, Batman only like assaults thugs and criminals and whatnot and like helps lower crime. So I don't know why people would really be upset with Batman, you know? So it's now the night of the Joker's talk show going on, which I'm just thinking to myself, why the fuck would you ever let Joker out of the asylum? How the fuck did he never get the death penalty? Um, Oh, also beforehand, there's this one thug who's remained loyal to the Joker after all these years, and he tells them, "Oh, I've got Mary and Bobby ready to go, and I also have the special lipstick for you." And he gives Joker some lipstick, and it's just like, are you not searched at fucking Arkham when you enter? Like, no wonder why it's a revolving door of people and why there's constant breakouts, because the security is absolute ass. I mean, unless he stuck that lipstick up his butthole, there's no reason should be able to give Joker anything. Like, even if it's lipstick, which, I mean, if I saw Joker getting lipstick, I'd be like, okay, that's the Joker. I don't know what's going on there, but that's something. So, yeah, so he's on the talk show, and he's got these filters that allow him to breathe normally through his nose, and he also is wearing his lipstick. And he gets on the talk show with the psychiatrist. And before that, though, Batman, he's trying to get to the Joker, but he has to fight like all the cops on the roof that are I guess, waiting for his move. So while the cops and Batman are going at it, the Joker breaks a coffee mug and slices his psychiatrist's throat. He also has the two kids, Mary and Bobby, who they're just, they're just like flying bombs shaped like children. It's really weird, very weird choice. And they enter and they fly around, pouring Joker gas everywhere and killing everyone inside. So this version of Joker, he has like a death count of 600, and then just that act alone bumped it up to over 800. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So when Batman's fighting all the police officers to get to him, um, he has to retreat because he's like so outnumbered, and then at this point it's pointless because the Joker's already came, killed everybody, and he's gone. So the Joker at this point now, he goes to find Selina Kyle, who has her own escort service. So he breaks in and assaults her by kissing her, and his lipstick is like hypnotic, so you're much more suggestible and you do what the person says, and he gets her to get to a another escort to get to a congressman to essentially go to the top of the building, walk around naked except for an American flag, and then call for the bombing of Russia, and like because they're like, oh, they're gonna bomb us first, so we better strike first. And then he like jumps off and kills himself, which holy shit. So Bruce, he gets there on the scene incognito, and he finds out where uh, where like the escort was from. So he gets there before the cops show up, and then he finds like a Selina Kyle dressed up in a Wonder Woman attire, which I'm like, that was fucking personal. um, so Selina's like, Bruce, I've never even seen him like this. This is worse than ever. And I'm like, that's terrifying to have a person whose like previous death toll was 600 to be like, yeah, he's over the edge. That is scary. So Carrie, she finds some cotton candy on the floor, and he's like, oh shit, he's going to the fairgrounds. So Carrie, she has to deal with when they get there, the Bobby bomb. Blows up, and now she has to take care of the Mary bomb, and then the one henchman that helped build them. Meanwhile, Batman has to take care of the Joker. Right off the gate, it's amazing. Batman throws 3 batarangs right at Joker, in the shoulder, in the other shoulder, and then smack right in the eye. So Joker's like, are you out of your fucking mind? And then he goes to a madhouse, or I mean a mirror maze. He's killing everybody left and right. And then he takes a kid hostage when he's in the mirror maze, but Batman, he's able to surprise him. But Joker, he gets one lucky shot in on his side. So Joker, he like throws another mirror thing, like a whole stack of them on Batman. He's about to shoot, but he's out of bullets. So he gets out of the mirror maze while Batman's trying to pick himself out of the rubble. And then he runs into an officer, which he kills and takes his gun and ammo. And then he's just like executing people left and right. He's making his way to the Tunnel of Love. Meanwhile, Carrie, she disabled the one Mary bomb. Nobody got hurt. And then the one henchman, he tried to choke her out, and she pushed him off of him. And he got stuck on a roller coaster part on a chain that just sucked him right up and killed him. And I'm like, that girl is 13 years old. This has to be a horrifying experience for her. So Joker and Batman, they're in the Tunnel of Love. Joker's killing people left and right until finally, like, Batman catches up. He's beating the shit out of him. Joker's stabbing him and slicing him with this, like, switchblade of his. And until finally there's a crescendo where Batman's, like, holding Joker by the neck and Joker's, like, stabbing him. And Batman just loses control and snaps his neck. So Joker, he's like just lying there in the Tunnel of Love. He's still alive, but he's crippled. And he's like, holy shit. You fucking did it, dude. Let's go. So then Joker snaps his own neck to put himself, I guess, out of misery. But it's fucking brutal how they animated it. So Batman, with all the blood loss, he like rests for a moment by the Joker's body, and the police show up, and Batman, he like goes underwater for a moment. One of the cops touches Joker's, I guess, vest, but it turns out to be booby trapped, and he gets on fire. So the commissioner, the new one, she like sees Batman and tells all the men to open fire on him, and Batman's forced to like take a gun and like put off an explosive to be a distraction to escape the tunnel of love. So he does that, and he escapes while fighting a huge task force of policemen trying to like shoot at him. But Carrie, she's able to like use the Batcopter to save him, and they just get out of there. So at this time, um, Superman, he's like he's fighting the Soviets. He's doing a good job. They eventually do win. Like America is able to capture that one land, but the Russians, they're a bunch of sore losers, so they sent a nuclear warhead to that island. Well, Superman, he like takes it and like redirects it, and when it explodes, it's not a bomb, it's an EMP device. So he gets knocked out of the sky. He looks like a fucking decrepit like shell of a man, like very thin, very pale, very sickly looking. And I'm used to like Superman healing via the sun, but he like puts his hands to the ground because he lands in like a field of sunflowers, and then I guess he just drains the life from like this huge area, and like everything dies around him, but he's able to restore his health, which is like, what the fuck. So um Batman, he's in recovery when like all of a sudden the power goes out, and he wakes up and he deduces that the bomb wasn't a bomb, it was an EMP device that affected the entire country. So the power's out, people immediately go to looting, people are out of jails because it's electronic based, and they're breaking out and causing all kinds of havoc. So Batman and Carrie, they go to his farm and like release a whole bunch of herd of horses behind them, and they go to where the sons of Batman are, and one of the guys, he's like holding a shotgun saying how like we're gonna take back the land and kill anybody who gets in our way. And then Batman strolls up and he's like, we're not gonna do that at all. And he like takes the gun and breaks it in half, and he's like, these weapons are loud and clumsy, we're not gonna do this. And he like holds like a batarang. He's like, this is quiet and efficient, and I promise after this night I will teach you all how to use this, but tonight you're gonna use your wits and your fists, and you're just going to help me restore the city. So he takes the sons of Batman, and they like herd in the mutants and the other looters, and pretty much like restoring all order in Gotham City. It's really nice. Like there's a nice message of togetherness and all this, and so Gotham, it's back to pretty much normal in a couple of days. Meanwhile, every single major city in the U.S. except for Gotham City has been overrun by riots. So Reagan, he feels like super upstaged by this. So he's like, "Hey, Superman, put him down. I don't care how you do it. Put him down. Put him the fuck down. He's making us look bad. Put him down." And I'm just like, "You are a petty asshole. Every single city is going to shit, and you're like, put down the guy that's being an example. That is shitty." So Superman, he like goes to Gotham and then just like lasers into a field where Bruce is at the time, and it just says where, and Bruce says Crime Alley, which I'm just like, Superman, you have the element of surprise. Just like, shoo, grab him, shoo, take him to a prison. I don't know. Just, it's whatever. So before the fight, Oliver Queen shows up and he's telling Bruce how he's been in prison for like 5 years, and he escaped, and he was just been making a mess for the government, but they can't really acknowledge him because everybody thinks he's dead. So he's telling Bruce, dude, you're way too loud. You need to be quiet like me. And Bruce is like, yeah, maybe I have overdid it a little bit. So Bruce, he's getting set up. He's got his own like bat suit to combat Superman, and he agreed to help Oliver, or let Oliver help him because he's like the reason why Oliver's missing an arm. So, which is kind of pretty crazy considering he's a freaking archer. Um, so it's now the big confrontation. Bruce is there versus Superman. Carrie's in the tank dealing with some military guys to help with the ambush. And it is a fucking fight. I mean, the Joker versus Batman fight was really cool. But man, I mean, you have got, like, you at one scene, you have Bruce taking like two steamrollers and using them, just like grabbing them, beating the fuck out of Clark with it. It's just, there's so much going on. It's such a good fight. Like, you have Batman uh, siphoning electricity from the entire city to like shock Superman with it. Like, it is balls to the wall. So essentially, Superman is getting the better hold on him until finally, with enough of distraction, Bruce is able to like buy some time, and Oliver Queen, he's able to shoot a kryptonite arrow at Superman, and Batman then proceeds to beat him even more and being like, hey, all I had over these years was time and money. So I've been putting all that towards this because I wanted you to know I could have killed you if I made the dose stronger. I wanted you to know for the rest of your life that I was the man that beat you. And then Bruce has a heart attack because he took a pill earlier that would induce that. So, also during that time, Alfred, he completely burned down Wayne Manor, and he unfortunately had a stroke. So now it's the day of the funeral for Alfred and Bruce, and the whole world now knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. But, I mean, Wayne Manor's destroyed, Alfred's gone. They don't really have any leads whatsoever. So, yeah, it's now at the funeral. Clark's the last one there. But then he hears a heartbeat go off. And he also sees Carrie in disguise, and he just like smiles and gives her a wink like, okay, I see what you guys are doing now. So then it cuts to Oliver leading former mutants and the Sons of Batman in a cave, letting them know of like plans of like making the spring water drinkable, like setting up electricity. And then Bruce reveals himself, saying that they have all the time in the world and he's going to teach every single one of them his secrets, his tricks, everything. And he ends it with, yeah, I've spent the last 10 years looking for a good death. This is going to be a good life. And they're setting everything up, and he goes, well, good enough. And then that's the end. So, I mean, it's just balls to the wall, good stuff right there. Unfortunately, though, like, even though I do like this movie more than part one, I think just for how Superman is treated, and to like go after his own friend like that, and to kill people, which, I mean, you could argue he didn't, but he sunk an entire battleship. There's no way nobody died from that. Like, it didn't even show him like rescuing anybody or anything. But I think I will have to give it a 6 out of 7. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is an amazing Batman story through and through. The Joker part is fucking phenomenal. The Superman fight is balls to the wall insane. I love it. I'm glad that fucking psychiatrist got his comeuppance. Like, who the fuck thinks, yes, the Joker, he definitely needs to be given a second chance. He definitely needs to be on a talk show. He definitely doesn't need to be fucking searched or anything. Oh my god, like, and the talk show too. Like, who would ever agree to something like that? That'd be something like Hitler being on the Ed Sullivan show years later. Like, you just don't do that, you know? It's just like some people don't deserve a second chance. Like that, the Joker, if you say, yes, I've killed 600 people, it's like, dude, that's fucking nuts. But it's still a good story. Is there flaws in it? Yeah, but I mean, it's so epic. It's kind of like how I feel towards Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. I recognize that Infinity War is the better movie, but I like Endgame more just for the sheer amount of awesomeness that it is. But yeah, Dark Knight Part Dark Knight Returns Part 1, 7 out of 7, Part 2, 6 out of 7. Still really good. It's just like, man, that stuff was Superman. I don't know. Yes, it is. You need that for Batman in this particular movie, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling. Tomorrow, we're actually going to start another new series. This one I've never seen before. I've only seen the movies, so this is going to be very refreshing to see the Batman for the first time. So, yeah, can't wait for that. Bye bye.